we went through our first round with them with the round 14. I considered it a success in the sense that many of the grantees were able to raise some significant funds and get some traction on the projects that they're working on. If anybody here today is one of those grantees, please do raise your hand and jump up on stage. I'd love an opportunity to get caught up on where you're at with your project and for you to share that with the rest of the community. Some things to know about the next round. Gitcoin round 15 is coming up. We'll continuously be posting updates in the Discord server. That's happening in September. Hopefully this time we'll have a complete schedule to communicate a little better ahead of time, exactly when those dates are happening for opening and closing of times and distributions of funds for the grantees. We recognize in Grant 14 round that communication was a significant issue, but we're making improvements and we continue with the process with Gitcoin grants. We'll see improvements every step of the way, I think. They're being very responsive and getting feedback from the matching fund members like Unlock and iteratively improving the process there. So the next thing I wanted to talk a little bit about was the fact that we have some grants that we still want to hand out here at Unlock for integration purposes. We're looking for people to take on grants for integrations, specifically some of the ones that we're excited to potentially see happen, maybe a Squarespace integration, Ghost integration, Wix, a Webflow. We're also open to some ideas if anybody has any that they would like to propose. And I want to remind everyone that we're here to help. Don't just fill out a form, ask questions. You definitely, if you need some guidance, we're definitely here for that. So don't be shy. And I'd like to take the opportunity now to ask maybe Chris to talk a little bit about the fact that we not only want our grantees to get into the pipeline, but we also want them to be successful. We have an opportunity to elevate your voice if you're just getting started. And there's a few ways that we can do that. Chris being our marketing guru here at Unlock Protocol can speak a little bit to some of those things that we can do to get the word out about your project.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of different things that we can help on. So sort of pre-project, when you are thinking about things, looking for co-conspirators, definitely reach out to us and reach out to the other members of the community in the Discord. And, if you have the opportunity or looking for partners to work on various things with, that can definitely help as well. The second is, as projects get going and as you start getting either to production, publish things out live, or start getting people using your project or getting it integrated into other types of projects as well, you can do a couple of things. Definitely reach out to the rest of the community here in the general channel, as well as feel free to share in channels like the showcase channel. And as we see things like that coming up, what we'll do is we'll reach out, definitely try and find some opportunity to learn a little bit more about what you're doing, and definitely want to be able to promote things. And that can be everything through our social channels, through venues like this, as well as things like our newsletter and such. So lots of different ways that we can help you get the word out, because we want the community as a whole to be successful. This is not an Unlock only joint. This is a collective effort. And so we want to make sure that everything that's going on in the community has some presence. For example, a couple of months ago, we had a really interesting grant project come up integrating Unlock into Notion. And that was launched as a project called Monetized. And we were able to have Matt Mankins present that, do a presentation, And those recordings have turned into things that are available through the various social channels here for Unlock. Turned it into an Unlock guide that is in our guide site. If you're not aware of the guide site, that is at unlock-protocol.com/guides, which shows how to do interesting things more at an end user level, and being able to integrate Notion and Unlock together is definitely something that fits into that bill. So that's why that ended up in that section of our assets. But those are the types of things that we can definitely provide. So if you're doing cool stuff, let us know about it, because we want to tell the world. And with that, back over to you, Angela.
Thanks, Krish. I really appreciate that. I also wanted to let everybody know who hasn't had a chance to meet me yet here in the community that I do have deep experience as a full stack dev. You can come to me with those technical questions. I have a Calendly link I can share with you, and my DMs are always open for more in-depth back and forth outside the normal channel. Of course, inside the developer channel and the creator channel, our team is really great at getting to answering those questions there. But if you're really struggling and you need a little bit more support, I just encourage you to reach out, schedule some time on my calendar if that's what it takes, and to get started without having yourself get stuck. Don't let things be a roadblock for you if you're struggling. That's what we're here for, and I want to ensure that we're continuing to support everybody in their efforts in getting up and running on the protocol. I want to take an opportunity to allow people to jump up on stage if they'd like to talk about something that they're working on right now, so that they can give us a little insight into what they're doing, share that with the community here. I'm going to give it a little bit of awkward silence. Also, I'm going to ask Patrick if he wants to jump up on stage and talk a little bit about partnerships. We had some really great conversations with a few different development companies over the last couple of weeks that were really promising in the sense of them being very excited about being able to use Unlock Protocol for servicing their clients who are looking for integrating blockchain technology. And those partners might also be good opportunities for people to get additional support when they need it as they start working on projects for their existing clients. They're learning everything about the protocol and can be a resource for other people looking for help with integrating Unlock Protocol. So Patrick, if you want to jump up, you can go ahead and jump up now. Otherwise, I'm going to give it a minute to let other people jump up on stage, including, I see Danny is here. If Danny talk about what you built with Scaffold ETH too, that would be a great thing to share with the community at this point. Hey, Patrick, go ahead.
Hey, everyone. So from a partnerships perspective, we have a lot of momentum coming out of ECC in Paris, which is a Ethereum conference that we supported. Their ticketing experience, ECC delivered 1,800 tickets to 1,800 attendees. And from purchase to registration, that experience was facilitated with us. So that represents an exciting consumer use case of tokens that a lot of people, organizations, either crypto native or traditional orgs, are getting excited about. In addition to that, we're also thinking about how we could better support people within our community, like those of you that are on this call today, in order to accelerate your launch schedules. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll likely be reaching out to some of you in order to see how we could, like, where are the gaps that exist within your current strategies where you may be getting hung up when you're trying to build something? What is it that you're not able to do with the protocol? And how can we help fill in those gaps? So those are some of the things that we're exploring. In the meantime, I appreciate the engagement from the community of always bringing up new ideas of partners to speak with. If there are any NFT projects that you're a part of that would find subscriptions or memberships with time-based constraints valuable, or if you're in any other communities where they're building tools for crypto native businesses and you're paying a subscription fee and they could benefit from subscriptions as NFTs, we would always welcome those introductions.
An interesting statistic I saw, you guys, in taking a look at the activity across all of our channels and including our Discord server, was during this bear market, we haven't seen significant growth in the numbers inside of our Discord server, but what we have seen is a significant increase in the quality of members, in that the members that we have now are interacting more and really jumping into the community in a way that they haven't. That's a really good sign of health in our community. We'll continue to work on programs for rewarding people. And in fact, we already have one. And I just want to mention this because I want to ensure that all the nominations are made that really need to be made this month, because we have had some really great contributions, is that we have retroactive funding. So please make sure that you're nominating people for that retroactive funding. And I saw that somebody tried to nominate me and Julian. We actually get compensated already since we work for Unlock. So we're not actually eligible for those rewards, although I definitely appreciate the love there. The goal is really to distribute those tokens to other community members. And I want to remind people that this is an opportunity to pull people into the DAO that haven't been there yet, because maybe they're working on something right now, but they're not finished with it. They don't currently own any UDT, but it's a great opportunity to show them some love and ensure they get some tokens so they can start participating in the DAO. And we want to increase that DAO participation. So let's make sure that we're nominating people. And if you don't know how to do that, please ping me so I can definitely nominate someone. Hey, Danny, let's talk a little bit about Scaffold ETH because I'm really excited about
Thanks, Angela. Hey, everyone. So, Scaffold E is a really, really great tool, and anyone, I don't know if you're all familiar with that, but you could get started with it by hitting speedrunethereum.com, and it's basically got a lot of tools that can help developer basically get started with like a project really quickly, and you don't have to go through a lot of settings and resets that you would usually do. So I am working on a project that kind of integrates Unlock with Scaffold E. And I've been working with Angela for a while on that, and that's ready. And also, I had to extend that to an NFT project, an NFT collection that I'm actually working on, which actually has a leveling mechanics. And what the aim for that is basically to facilitate coordination and incentivize people to engage in certain different activities. So basically what it does is you would have to be a member to get started to actually mint an NFT, and you can actually just mint one initially. So once you do, you become a member, and then the idea is to level up your NFT. So whenever you level up your NFT, you basically get rewarded with tokens. And the way to do that would have to be to coordinate with like your friends, peers, or activities that you might engage in. So in an ideal situation, something like a call like this could be a level, and so you would create a lock with unlock uh, like this. You would create a lock and possibly call it whatever you want to call it, and that's basically a level. And everyone that attended that call could get the keys to the lock, And so they'd be able to level up their NFTs by one level by, participating in that call or event or whatever it is that you have going on. So you could have like your friends or your team or whatever you want to have, and you guys could do whatever, and that's like a level. And so you can just basically incentivize your friends and team members to get involved in different things by interacting with the NFT. So it's been really exciting to work on that, and all of this was basically made possible with Unlock because there needed to be some sort of determining factor to allow for leveling up, and Unlock really made that so easy because with with the ability to create the lock and have it gated, it just kind of makes sense. So that's really what I've been working on, and it's been really exciting. I'm looking to um, put that out really soon, and so far so good. It's been really fun to do that. So that's like
Um,
TLDR.
gonna say thank
So
you so much for all of your work on this stuff. You guys will be making some serious announcements in regards to Scaffold E and a big push to get the word out about this. We've already talked to Austin about getting it right there on the front page. So we'll have a flavor of Unlock linked directly from the main Scaffold E repo, which I think should get us some really great attention, but also become a really, really great tool for the community to use to get projects started when people are just starting out. Also, this idea that Danny had of leveling was so interesting to me because it actually met up exactly with what I was thinking about implementing for our own education process. Um, and so I actually a bunch of the work that Danny already did there will likely end up as a foundational portion of our mechanisms for leveling people up as we build out our education program. Um, we'll start talking about some of that. We have an official launch scheduled for next week for Scaffold ETH. So just keep an eye out in the channels for that with all the announcements that'll be forthcoming. So I'm really, really excited to see community members engaging in a way that is making significant progress for the protocol. Hey, Sean, I see you're here too. If you want to hop up and talk about um, any challenges where you're at with integrating, feel free to jump up and talk to us about that. I know that you were working on some music stuff, which I always find is interesting. There's still a lot to be figured out in the music space with NFTs. So feel free to jump up if you want to talk about that too. Um, I wanted to just say a big thank you to all of our community members, especially because I've seen that increase in activity and quality. Um, so definitely thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you that are, I know several of you that are here very active in the server. So I always want to take every opportunity I can to say thank you very much. Go ahead, take it away, Sean, if you want to talk about how things are going for you.
Hey there. Peace and blessings, you all. Thanks for inviting me up, Angela. Speaking it into existence that you all are well. So, as far as the update is concerned on how things are going with the music NFTs and the unlock integration and all of that, slow but steady progress. I would say that um, I guess a lot of the challenge that I've been faced with is primarily philosophical, just in the sense of uh, alongside of trying to do this unlock integration, I have been also deliberating exactly what makes sense for releasing music and music related NFTs, and in the bear market, as well as like understanding how things might progress moving forward. I realized that there's a lot of like, and that's exactly why I seek to integrate Unlock, which is providing more value to my music NFTs. However, I am kind of at a crossroads with which platforms and blockchains I actually want to mint those on. And I have been heavily contemplating and considering some other blockchains that are not quite available on Unlock, but I have high hopes because I did see the new integration with Celos, which means that there's always going to be that room for growth and possibilities, and that's one of the other philosophical things that I've been trying to determine, or I guess not, fully philosophical, but more so of like my own time availability and what I might be able to contribute. Because with that being said, I figured it would probably make sense for me to start looking into what that all entails as far as getting another blockchain to operate with Unlock Protocol. And if someone like myself, who is technically a no coder, but is in a space where I have to start diving into the code to figure out how to get these things integrated. And, even if that's just currently at the time, like code injections and embed codes within Webflow and things of that nature. I'm wondering if it makes sense for me to start diving in deeper with the coding and understanding, okay, what are the ways that I can potentially contribute towards getting one of these other blockchains that I'm considering integrated with Unlock, so that it can be something further on down the line that I can work with. And also, how do I take that coding and knowledge and help it to make the value make sense outside of just providing access to things that people would usually have access to on my website. So the philosophical part comes in the utility aspect, I guess.
Sean, I am really glad I pulled you up on stage to talk about this, because these are some of the issues that we're continuing to hear from people in the community, and actually have been having internal conversations about how to solve some of these issues for people. Since the space is so new, trying to figure out some mechanics is really difficult. Sometimes all you need is as we say in the developer world, a rubber ducky, somebody to bounce it off of. Um, that's what our community is here for, and the Discord server works really great for that. But if you're really struggling, also the Unlock team is here for that. And Patrick actually happens to be somebody who gives really great feedback in that regard. He's really great at asking the right questions to people. And in fact, in the realm of music NFTs, I introduced Tanifa to you, Sean. But apparently you guys had already known each other from the Atlanta music scene. But she actually had some deep conversations with Patrick and gave me the feedback that those are really helpful for her to think through what she's building and move it forward, and be more confident in the time that she's spending on the project. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Hanifa happens to be one of our grantees. She's working on a beats per minute DAO, which is the idea behind it is music channels that people can subscribe to and receive regular drops from. And then in addition to that, a portion of those proceeds go to a public good. So that's the type of thing that I think that you can definitely reach back out to us and continue to get feedback. We've already had one conversation, but it doesn't need to end there. And I think a lot of people are really shy about taking up our time, but that's our job. That's what we're here for, to support the community. And as the community grows, those people that we support here we will grow into different positions, likely rewarded with UDT to help us scale that as that becomes, you know, too much for us to handle here at the team. But right now we have the capacity for that. I want you guys to not feel shy about asking for one-on-ones. That is definitely what I'm here for, and I keep quite a bit of time open on my calendar for those things. And I've seen quite a bit of success and people moving forward with their projects when they've had that sort of level of support. So please go ahead and jump into my Calendly. I do have a Calendly link. It's just / Wonder Woman code. But also I'll share that in the channel so that on a regular, so that I'm reminding people regularly that we're available for those types of things. And like Patrick was talking about earlier, we will have more forms to fill out, and a little bit more process around setting up some of those conversations to actually help people get their locks deployed and everything. So definitely something that we're working on, and definitely something that we want to encourage people to do. In addition to that, you mentioned that the need for additional blockchain was something that you wanted. Would you share with me what blockchains you're looking at potentially right now, and the whys behind those choices, so that I can have some context?
Sure thing. And I appreciate the the offer, the extending the olive branch for those conversations, because I will absolutely take you up on those offers. But as far as the additional blockchains that I'm considering, ironically, or as catalytic as it is, I would say XRP is one of them. In part because I have been following this whole SEC versus Ripple lawsuit quite closely, and seems like SEC has been on the back foot for quite some time now, and it does seem like even amidst all of this, Ripple is making some rather progressive moves forward. And the XRP ledger is effectively introducing XLS20, which is their version of the ERC 721. And of my understanding of how this technology works and their implementation of it, outside of it being on the XRP ledger, which is an extremely like so much faster than Ethereum or anything else like that, and far cheaper, it also allows, like, the XLS20 would allow for royalties to be baked into the asset itself rather than it being like platform specific. And also it would prevent some of the security issues that we see happening with Ethereum based NFTs, such as like airdropping people like random things that end up scamming them, or they click into it and it ends up hacking their wallet and all of those things. A lot of the times when I speak to people about crypto and NFTs and all of these things, especially people that are outside of the space, the primary thing that they're aware of is like, isn't there like a whole lot of scamming going on? Isn't there like a lot of security issues, and all of this thing? So I've always been looking at other blockchains and technologies and things that might help to answer some of those questions, and also to kind of give us a bit more firm understanding of how we can navigate around some of those security issues. And I do like XRP's approach with XLS20 on how they plan to mitigate some of those issues. So basically, you can't airdrop anything to anyone's wallet unless there was a trust line established between those two wallets beforehand. So that would help with some of those kinds of issues. And then I do also very much like that the royalties are baked into the asset itself, so that even if somebody sells that, NFT across on chain, but on another platform somewhere else, those royalties still come back to the artist. So it was that one. And then I was also looking at Hedera Hash Graph as well. And, that's because their technology is fundamentally different than traditional blockchains, but it has a lot of promise in regards to its speed, scalability, and security.
So I'm going to talk about a couple of different points here that are relating to launching Unlock on other blockchains. First of all, so far we have only launched on EVM compatible blockchains. XRP is not an EVM compatible blockchain, although there are some side chains that allow that mechanism to happen. I believe now for XRP. But I don't know enough off the top of my head to speak to that directly. But that is something that that we can bring up with the engineering team to explore. Um, just a note on EVM compatible chains, anytime there's a need for that, we're encouraging people to go ahead and enter an issue in GitHub for it right away, because it doesn't actually take us that long to launch on a new EVM compatible chain. So literally we can slide those in fairly quickly within a matter of weeks to get those up and running when we've seen enough requests for a specific chain. So if it's an EVM compatible chain, definitely right away enter an issue for it, and we'll slot it in and we'll get to it if it means that a project can get launched and off the ground. Now, for non-EVM compatible chains, it gets a little bit more difficult, and here's the reason why. Bridges continue to be the place of vulnerability in the blockchain space. They continue to be the place where people are losing millions and millions of dollars. The Nomad hack being the most recent one that we've seen in the news, but definitely not the only one. And in fact, the majority of hacks in the blockchain space today are on bridges. And it continues to be a space that is very risky. And since security is really part of what we take very seriously here at Unlock, it's not something that we will endeavor to do without a lot of thought and a bunch of pre-planning and a lot of planned resources behind because of that. The last thing that we want to do is expose our community to the type of risk that comes with doing those things hastily and without security in mind from the get-go. So for the rest of this year, there definitely are no plans to launch on non-EVM compatible chains. It is not in the roadmap. It's not planned to be in the roadmap unless there is some sort of other significant push in the community for it. But right now, I'm not seeing enough support inside the community in general for any of that, other than an occasional request for Solana. We really haven't seen any significant traffic for asking for any one of those other non-EVM compatible chains. So that's just sort of an update with where we're at right now and the reasons behind the decisions thus far. But this is a community governed project, so having those discussions out in the open is definitely something that we want to encourage. You can do that first by making a proposal if you're already in the DAO. And if you're not, you can also enter an issue on GitHub, in which case the engineers will give specific reasonings or have a deeper conversation about the technical aspects of what would go into adding that sort of feature to the roadmap. Hopefully that answered most of your questions, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely answers some of my questions as well. And trust me, I understand your perspective. And I did understand before as well that you all were primarily focused on EVM compatible chains. And in that breakdown, I actually did forget one of the primary ones that I was looking forward to as well, which would kind of be something in between those answers, which is the Flare network, which is an EVM compatible chain that is basically striving to do what Polkadot is doing with like the blockchain of blockchains, creating a fully decentralized bridge between all of these projects. But yes, I do agree with your sentiment on the security risks that are at play with existing bridges, and why, you kind of step forward towards those things with trepidation and a bit of caution. So it's not that I'm unfamiliar with that, and I completely understand if these are things that would take a lot of time to implement. Nonetheless, it is something that I still wish to kind of be, um, I would say, considerate about taking that early approach to, just because I understand, like, once those things do gain traction, and once those issues are resolved, then it would be a clear runway to actually kind of flow through with a bit more I guess confidence, you could say. But yeah,
Yeah,
definitely understand.
I think that's why we need to use the existing mechanisms, GitHub issues, or bringing it up in the unlock.community forum, in order to start garnering all that feedback now. Of course, every single different implementation has different considerations. So we should definitely break those conversations up based on what potential chain and why. I I think that, like I said, since this year we're already looking at a bunch of other stuff that we'll be working on. It's not None of that's going to happen in this year, but if conversations are going to happen, they should get started now. We should get into the weeds of the whys and why nots of all of that now. And we should definitely break those up into separate conversations based on the specific chain that we're talking about. So feel free to enter an issue on that in GitHub, Sean. I think that if anything, the XRP potential one, if I remember right, there is a mechanism there to launch on XRP with EVM. So but I'd have to go research it a little bit more myself. But I can help pull some of that together for you too. If you open the issue, I'll add in a few notes of what I know. But the engineering team can give their feedback about what that might look like. But that's the benefit of having those mechanisms in place to communicate directly with the engineering team and get that going. So definitely do it now, so that if that's something you want to see happen in the future, we can start working on those conversations now. That might take a lot of time to get pulled together. So yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for. And definitely, like I said, anytime, if it's an EVM compatible chain, enter an issue and for it right away, and it'll get slotted in. Especially as people start raising their hand and saying, me too, I want this one. Which is what we've been doing, consistently launching on new EVM compatible chains. Minkins, I see that you're here. Do you want to hop up on stage and talk a little bit updates on Monetize and let us know what's going on with that? Glad to see your face today. We had some really great feedback in the Discord server about how easy to use Monetized was, by the way. So that was a really good thing to see happen. An awesome success story. Welcome. How's your day today, Minkins?
Good. Thanks for calling me up. Yeah, we've seen a few people give Monetized and Notion and Unlock a try, and have been excited to see that that's getting some traction. It's good to hear that feedback came back to you all. So excellent news there. I think it's still very early days for us and the particular implementation that we have. I think that Monetized is early on in exploring token gating and how Unlock can really unlock new capabilities for various market segments. I'm just basically hanging out here today just to kind of hear what the community is up to. Did you have a question? I I maybe missed?
Mostly just wanted an update and to say hello and give you that feedback about people letting us know how easy to use monetized was.
Awesome.
Additionally, I wanted to make sure that you knew that we're still here to support you. So as you start, getting past the building part and moving into the, trying to gain some traction part, make sure that you're pinging us on a regular basis because that's, our goal is for all of our grantees to actually be successful, not just in building out the product itself, but to actually gain some traction on it. So I'm happy, and Patrick and Chris are happy to help elevate your voice, retweet your tweets, um, show up at your Twitter spaces, whatever it is that we can do to give you a little bit of a boost.
Thank
Not
you.
just announcements, but be fully supportive in the entire portion of the journey so that we can, help you take that next step. So yeah, just make sure that
Thank you.
continue to reach out.
Yeah, we'll
Hey,
do. Who's that,
sorry, I
Sean?
didn't mean to cut you off. Hey, peace and blessings. I just wanted to say, hey, it's good to hear from you again. And just so you know, I haven't forgot about your implementation as well. I've been working on that, but I did want to let you know that I actually just recently became a Notion ambassador. And I'll actually be having a meeting with the team this week. And it will give me access to kind of be able to have group calls or discussions with some of the working members of the Notion team. So if there's any questions that you might have where you're trying to get some direct feedback from that, and I'll also be in some of those ambassador group chats and things of that nature. So if you're ever at a point where you want that feedback from some, highly skilled Notion users in the direct community, just let me know.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you. That's really exciting. Congrats on that position. I think in general, it's just getting enough users to have that feedback. So anytime you can mention us, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for that.
Absolutely.
See, this is what I like to see, the happenings between the community members. And I've actually been able to witness like several of these happen where I've just been able to connect community members and something great happens. So it was really awesome to see. I pulled is it Zeke?
Hey, how's
However
it
you
going? Can you hear
hey,
me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd love
perfect.
to hear more about spatial. Give us a download about what's that all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, my name is Zishan, Zeke for, I guess, nickname. I'm working on a project called P360. We're working with a bunch of NHL, so hockey players. And one of the aspects of the project that we're working on is to build out like avatars on inside of spatial.io. I'm not sure if you're aware of that platform or not, but it's basically a 3D space platform where you can build 3D environments and you can have about 50 people come in to one room and, be able to chat with each other and, each other's avatars. They also have a Ready Player Me integration. So we're trying to figure out how to do like basically gated access for the players. So, if somebody buys the player's NFT, then they would have access to their room when they're there, and that's how I came across Unlock Protocol. Um, Currently, Spatial is using the Polygon NFT API, and so I wanted to figure out, and this is something I was trying to figure out alongside the digital team at the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are a pretty large organization, and they've been they're under a group called MLSC Digital. And actually, Christian over there, he was aware of you guys. And so we kind of started this conversation of how do we use Unlocked, alongside Polygon and Spatial to have this user case where fans can, attend a room with their favorite players, if they own an NFT. And it just so I wanted to jump on this, office hours call and and see if we could, work through some of the issues around that, if that's something that's possible or not.
Yeah, I like this idea. In fact, I think this would be a great idea for a grant too. And I would encourage you to, potentially apply for a grant. I don't know if you were
Sure,
thinking
we'll
about
do that. Yeah, actually, it was on the
integration.
grant page 10 minutes ago. So yeah, it was. I was just actually going through there and seeing. I was just actually starting to fill in some of the details there. So yeah,
The
that's. Is that
the
would that be the first step to take
yeah,
to start with
well,
the grant?
yeah, the superpower of Unlock in general is the fact
Yeah.
that you can take your locks anywhere,
Yeah.
and you use the keys to unlock things in different places. So
Mm-hmm.
integrations enables that magic, which is why we've really focused grant funds in that direction. But if
Yeah.
you want to have a call ahead of putting in your application, I'm happy
Mm-hmm.
to do a one-on-one with you two to just go over some details about it and ensure that everything is put together in a way that you can kind of sail through the process.
That sounds
Um,
awesome. If you could send DM me your Calendly, I will make an appointment. And no, this is something that's because really, I think there's a wider user case just in general for call it celebrities, influencers. I think you guys were talking about music, but really having that live space where the interaction occurs in a safe manner, between the avatar and the fans. I think that's a really exciting space to be in.
See, this is where the network effect really comes into play
Yeah.
when you start talking about the usefulness of Unlock, because Sean happens to be working on something because he's an artist. He would be
Mm-hmm.
a perfect first user to test out what you're looking at building or to talk to about, what would be most useful to, to him as an artist. We already have another
Yeah.
grantee who's working on a music channel platform that all could also be extended to um, spatial,
Okay.
which would be a really great place for you to, get some feedback and plug in, especially because she's actually already having conversations with um, some pretty big artists
Okay.
that will hopefully be jumping in on that because she has the NAACP helping her with the portion of it that's going towards public
Incredible.
good.
Yeah.
And so and she's like 30 years in the music business as a musician herself, and is toured with George Clinton and a bunch of big names. So I think that that's really the power of Unlock, is that we can all be building different things in different spaces, but that it's all interoperable, right?
Yeah.
What we want to see
Well,
happen. So this
yeah, it's really great because I mean, obviously, with Web3, like our perspective is, that like name, image, likeness rights, are able to be owned by the individual, right? That's like at the end of the day, that's what you own. And so, these user cases are similar because of that kind of basic point that any individual or band or artist can use their name, image, and likeness to uh, basically build a community around them and to monetize it, and to interact and to take away those barriers that normally are there. So yeah, we're really excited about that, and I realize I think that there's a lot of great user cases, but in the case of Major League Sports, it really gives us the opportunity to usher in the next wave of Web3 users, because there's this huge number of people that haven't interacted yet, that you could even potentially use the players and the athletes and the celebrities to educate that next wave of users. So it's really inside of our wheelhouse. But I'm glad I came across you guys, and I'd love to organize a call and speak a little bit further on these opportunities.
Yeah,
Awesome.
great.
One other thing that I wanted to jump on real quick, Zeke, before it fell out of my head, was on the technical side. There is some prior art that I think we can take
Okay,
advantage of on two different
great.
sides. Number one is we're already um, super familiar deploying projects on Polygon. It's been the
Yeah.
most popular and most kind of voluminous network over the
Hmm.
last
Makes sense.
let's call it 6 months or
Yeah.
so, which is awesome. So that one's easy. With respect to spatial in
Yeah.
particular, there may be some prior art we can pull from because there is an existing integration between Unlock and Decentraland.
Okay.
And if I look at spatial, and I've only had a chance to peek at the website briefly, but it seems to
Yeah.
be an immersive environment
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
you
Exactly.
have
Yeah.
an avatar and go in. So what we can do for sure is take a look at how the Decentraland implementation was set up, and I believe it was pretty much along the lines of there is a space on their grid, if you will, that is a building,
Uh-huh.
and when an
Yeah.
avatar gets up to there to the door of that space, you're attaching basically a check to see if someone has an unlock NFT, and
Right.
if they don't, then they can go purchase or acquire one. And so
Right.
as long as spatial has a similar mechanism for adding integrations into their environment, we might be able to take exactly the same or very similar to what was done for Decentraland, and just change the names of the function calls and see if it gets us on our way.
That's great. And we have the ear of the team over at Spatial, so happy to pull some of their team on, and of course, like I said, with MLSC, who they own the Maple Leafs, they own the Raptors, they own one of the soccer clubs in Toronto also. So I think there's, like you said, like was it Angela said, the network effect by working on these on these user cases can be extremely fruitful for everybody involved. So yeah, I'd love to get on a separate call with you guys and see if we can work out some of the work through the details, and yeah, we would be happy to, of course, apply for a grant. So we're in startup mode. So
Sweet. Well, we'll
Sounds
get
good.
that. We'll get that on the books for next week sometime.
Yeah, I'll send
perfect.
you over a bunch of resources along with my Calendly link, and I'll
Okay.
ensure that I propose sometimes that I know that also, Chris or Patrick are available. And just to give everybody context, Chris handles marketing, Patrick handles business development, and I handle developer relations.
Okay.
So that he knows exactly who does what at Unlock. But we're a small team, and very tight knit.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of times we'll, be doing some of the same functions, because when you're on a small team, that's exactly how you have to operate in order to make
Right.
sure stuff gets done. But
Of course.
just in general, always reach out, because that's what we're here for.
Okay.
And most of the time we're get answers back to you fairly quickly, and everything. But I have you in my DMs now, so I'll go ahead and get
Perfect.
you over those resources and the link to my Calendly as soon as the call's over. Which, by the
Yep.
way, we're hitting the top of the hour, just 5 more minutes. So I just wanted to give anybody else who wanted to talk an opportunity to raise their hand and jump up on stage if they had any questions or comments about what we've talked about here so far today. I love these conversations. Today's been really fruitful. So, hey, Sean.
Hey, Angela. I did have a quick question. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. I had to ignore it real quick. Yeah, who's the gentleman that did the actual unlock and Webflow integration? Do you remember that gentleman's name? And do you mind connecting me with him again? Because I did want to ask some questions and maybe see if there was a way to um kind of, I guess, take some of the feature suggestions that I was thinking to implement into consideration that might result in maybe an update to the Webflow instructions on how to integrate with Unlock.
I don't have his name right off the top of my tongue, but I'll shoot it over to you because I do have it. So I'll get that over to you. The current integration for Webflow is fairly basic. It's not a very extensive one, but it does allow you to lock and add the paywall effectively into one of the pages that you create with Webflow. So I can definitely help walk you through that because I've been through that process myself already, as I have with most of the integrations. So most definitely ping me, or I'll ping you after this ends and get that information over to you so you can start playing with it. We do want to make some improvements on the functionality of the Webflow integration. So that is something that we're putting the word out right now about, hoping to get a little bit more functionality built on that. So I'd love some feedback about what you're hoping to do with it too, because having use cases available when we're building more functionality for integrations is always extremely useful.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to having that conversation for sure.
So it's 2 minutes before the top of the hour. I'm going to go ahead and end the call since nobody else jumped up on stage, unless anybody else that's already here has any more questions. But I just wanted to thank everyone that came today for your participation and the great questions that came up out of it. So timely, so many of them. In regards to blockchains, these are conversations I've been having in the community in regards to the difficulties in getting creators up and running. This is definitely something we've been talking about in the team. So these little office hours are always such a great chance for us to get the sort of feedback that we really need in order to push things forward here at Unlock. So I'm going to post also my Calendly link in the general channel as soon as this is over, and anybody who needs it can schedule on my calendar one-on-one if you're having any trouble with implementation. I loved our conference. Oh, well, we do have one more. Double Vision. You want to jump up and talk before we head off? Hello.
Yeah, thanks. It was just to say thanks a lot for these meetings. They're really amazing, and the ideas are really great. So I really look forward for the next meetings that you guys make.
Thank you so much. We love that feedback. We'll continue to do these here on Discord monthly, and we have a few other regular Twitter Spaces and contributor meetups that we run. That's a Zoom meeting too. So we'll continue to do those as consistently as we possibly can, and we appreciate your appreciation.
Cool, amazing.
So much better when we know that we're doing the right thing. Makes my life so much easier. So I appreciate hearing that for sure. Thanks
Amazing.
for coming
Yeah.
today. Like I said, I'll be posting some more resources in the general channel, and I look forward to talking to you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye.